As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster, but then I saw The Irishman and I thought, maybe not. The Irishman is the new film from legendary director Martin Scorsese, one of my favourite directors of all time, who is finally re-teaming with Robert De Niro and out-of-retirement Joe Pesci, and for the first time, Al Pacino, all three of these guys in the same movie together. That's crazy. The rest of the cast includes guys like Bobby Cannavale, Ray Romano, Stephen Graham, Harvey Keitel, Anna Paquin's in there, a bunch of absolute legends throughout this film, in front of the camera and behind it. It is based on a screenplay by, again, legendary writer Steve Zaillian, based on the book I Heard You Paint Houses, that chronicles the life of fabled mob hitman Frank Sheeran. I was lucky enough to get to see this in a cinema, the beautiful Backlot Perth, fantastic venue. Lucky enough to see this 3.5-hour epic up on the big screen. I guess kind of the way it's meant to be seen. I understand not everyone will have that option, but if that option is available to you, take it. As always, I'm going to keep this review vague and spoiler free, but because this film is so back end heavy, because it's so weighted at the tail end, I'm going to have to get into discussing some themes which might not necessarily be super apparent from the start. So my advice is go in blind, know that I love this movie, I really love this movie, and it seems like pretty much everyone else that has seen it so far loves it too. That's all you need to know if you want to go in totally blind. I'm just letting you know in advance, be aware, I might kind of tread into some thematic territory that may come as a surprise if you have not seen the film or don't know anything about it. All right, let's get this out of the way. My favorite Scorsese film is Taxi Driver. I love that movie to an insane degree. It is just a legendary piece of cinema. And The Irishman comes pretty f***ing close to that. I mean, holy shit. The Irishman is, at least as far as I'm concerned, peak Scorsese, or peak until whatever he makes next somehow manages to bypass this, because somehow, after 50 years of making movies, this guy is still getting better and more profound and more powerful and more exciting and more rich and detailed and vibrant in his storytelling. And The Irishman is just the epitome of everything that has made Scorsese such a legendary director over the course of his career. This is a guy who is known particularly for his crime films, the crime films he made in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And now in 2019, he's taking a look back at all of those films with the eyes of a man who is now much older, and really deconstructing that and breaking that down. And to say that I loved what he does with this movie in every single element would be a total understatement. This is a 3-hour movie, and it went by like that, thanks to how tight and focused and streamlined and energetic the screenplay and editing are. And of course, Marty's direction. The flow of this film is off the charts. The rhythm from scene to scene is so tight and so just absolutely laser focused. Every single scene builds what we are moving towards as this film hits its absolutely soul-rending conclusion. This is everyone working at their peak to make the most fired up. You know, like directors that are half Scorsese's age are not pulling off movies filled with this much explosive kind of firepower from moment to moment. And so much of that comes from the absolutely blow my brains out knockout performances. Robert De Niro is back. He is so totally back. He might be disguised under some mildly distracting blue contact lenses, as well as what I will say is phenomenal de-aging technology. It was so good, I found. You know, you do have that kind of uncanny valley thing going on for like the first kind of 5-10 minutes until you completely adjust to it. But by the end of the film, I didn't even know how old the actors actually were supposed to look. The technology behind this is incredibly convincing, and whatever Netflix spent on making it happen was 100% worth it. But Robert De Niro is in absolute top form once again in this film. He might be the least showy of the three lead performances, but he's the one that you are magnetized to throughout the entire film. He's not an easy character to crack. He's not an open person. This is once again a very introspective performance, the type of thing that a lot of people don't always give credit to, the kind of performance that continually takes these outward experiences and brings them inwards until the moments where it needs to reveal and the character starts to let it actually come out, which as you get further and further into the movie becomes more profound and powerful. But this is some of Robert De Niro's most exceptional work in his entire career as far as I'm concerned. Seeing Joe Pesci come back and play this role, I don't think anyone else could do it. I can see why Marty was so insistent for so long that he come out of retirement to do this role, because I cannot imagine anyone else do it. He absolutely chewed through every scene. He has so much presence, so much kind of gravitas, and so much. There's just no one that really does it quite like him, and this film would not have been the same without him. Al Pacino has energy off the charts here. His performance is balls to the wall. It's loud, it's abrasive, it's intense, it is full on. I believe he captured Jimmy Hoffa, the essence of who that man was, that real life man, absolutely wonderfully. He's just got this explosive energy in every single moment he's on screen. He's definitely the most volatile of the three main stars. And I think, as much as I've said Robert De Niro was the absolute star of the show for me, he is the Irishman. Al Pacino, it's just so good to see him back at this level. I absolutely adored the rest of the cast, even the actors that were only given a couple of minutes to actually play with. The standout of the remaining players was Anna Paquin, who, in her moments where she gets to shine, and they're very, very limited, she absolutely commands the screen. Her character is so well established and orientated that by the time she actually gets those moments, they absolutely tore at my soul. She was phenomenal. The Irishman is an absolutely delicious looking movie too. Rodrigo Prieto's photography is so textured, so layered. It's just almost like you could reach out and just touch the texture of the light. It's so well sculpted and shaped and formed around the actors' faces. It captures the frailty of their aging selves so wonderfully. You can see every single line and contour in the actors' faces tells a story, and it is able to do so because of the way the light interacts with it. This movie has so many scenes that just play out in shot reverse, and the way that Scorsese kind of crafts those dialogue scenes and the way the actors absolutely mine the maximum amount of content out of them is wonderful. There's just an incredible synergy to the entire production. Every single element of it, from the costumes, the locations, the set design, just everything, every single thing that goes into the creative process here is working as one single organism, just so focused and driven and filled with passion for this project. This project was in development hell for years. No studios wanted to take it. The technology was not ready to make these actors be able to pull off this kind of multi-decade journey. And now that we've finally got it, it is everything I think this film could have possibly been. Don't let me forget the score by Robbie Robertson, which just gave me an immediately iconic theme, a theme that drives a lot of the action of the movie. And it wasn't until it hit in the credits where I found myself just breaking down and crying. Yes, The Irishman hit me that hard. This is a movie working towards a singular point, a singular conclusion. And the way that the movie just nailed that for me absolutely sent me reeling. Since I have seen the movie a couple of days ago, I cannot shake it. This is a movie with something on its mind, something it wants to say, and I can absolutely feel that in my bones. Scorsese has made plenty of movies about crime and about being a gangster, but none of them hit the level of introspective exploration that this movie does for me. This one truly examines the cost of that lifestyle in a way that I guess I could kind of see it coming as the movie went along. But the way that it hit absolutely shook me to my core. Throughout the film, we are seeing the life of people involved in this business, in the business of killing, in the business of extortion and, other crime things. And it wasn't until the movie hit its conclusion, hit its stride in its final hour, that I suddenly realized how the movie had pulled the wool over my eyes and just shown this lifestyle as a business, almost without the glamour. The movie has the glamour, the movie has the energy. You're rolling along with it going, God, I love this kind of seedy underworld. And then when that gets flipped, when we get to see the cost of that, that's when this movie absolutely sends it. It absolutely blew my mind and just obliterated my soul. I cannot shake the final line of the movie. The final moments of this movie are going to stay with me forever. It's so powerful, and it shows that Scorsese still has so much left to offer as a filmmaker, as one of the legends of the industry. The way that this film manages to hone in on a point that I don't think could have been made without the director's history making these movies over the last 50 years, movies of this kind, of this caliber. If he was to never make another movie again after this one, I think The Irishman would be the perfect conclusion to his filmography. But, I hope that it isn't, because if he's still making movies this good, I want more. But The Irishman, god damn, The Irishman. So that was my incredibly vague and incredibly exasperated review of The Irishman. Have you seen it yet? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like this video? Well, of course you did. You can subscribe to Breaking Banter down there somewhere to see more reviews like this, as well as my other channel, Loverboy Media, over there somewhere. You can also follow me on Twitter at Loverboy Media. And if you really want to help support this channel, you can support on Patreon. Thank you so much to all of you doing that already. You guys just don't understand how much that means to me. It means so much. Thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you all in whatever's next.